Revolvers have always been known for their reliability and classic design, but do you know they can fail and you don't even realize it? Yes, you cannot always trust them to function flawlessly. Timing issues are one of those hidden failures in the revolvers that can wear down your firearm slowly and gradually. Before it's too late to discover those warning signs in your own revolver, join us today as we explore this cause of revolver failure you didn't know before. Are you ready? Let's get started. Number 9. Historical context. If we compare today's revolvers to the ones back in time, we see that they are smoother and more refined, unlike the earlier versions that were prone to timing issues, especially after heavy use. Since there was no quick solution, gunsmiths back then had to manually fine-tune each piece in order to keep it working flawlessly. With each passing time, revolvers have become more durable by incorporating stronger materials and more accurate lockup systems. But does that mean the latest versions don't struggle with timing issues? No, that's not the case. Even with all the modern advancements, revolvers can still face such issues if not properly taken care of. These may be more reliable, but you still need to regularly maintain them to keep them in top working condition. Number 8. Timing issue. So do you know what the timing issue actually is? Or maybe you faced this issue earlier without even realizing it? Let me break it down for you. We all use our weapons expecting them to work flawlessly, but for a revolver, the cylinder is one of the most important parts, and it needs to turn perfectly and lock in place before the hammer drops. But if it doesn't, the issue is termed as a timing issue. Makes sense? If the cylinder doesn't lock in place during firing, the bullets that it holds might not enter the barrel smoothly, causing severe safety risks and mechanical failures. This misalignment can result in tiny bits of lead flying out of the sides of the gun. Now, this is something dangerous and definitely not harmless. It can hit you or someone standing nearby. Trust me, that won't be fun at all and is something that cannot be ignored. The consequences of a timing issue don't stop here. If you are lucky enough to avoid getting hit, this misalignment can also wear your gun down faster by putting additional stress on the most important parts that can lead to serious damage over time. So it's better to be safe than sorry and check for such problems before it gets too late. Have you ever experienced this issue with your revolver? Or maybe you have noticed some signs before but was not aware of what it actually was. Number 7. Types of timing issue. Let's look at the two main types of timing issues. It's important to know both as you might encounter either one in the future. The first type is the early lockup, which happens when the cylinder locks too soon into place before it's fully aligned with the barrel. Although it's just a slight alignment, it can still mess with your aim and make your shots miss the target, leaving you frustrated. Then comes the late lockup, which is even worse. This happens when the cylinder doesn't fully lock in place before the hammer falls, leaving the bullet struggling to get into a misaligned barrel. The result? It can cause bits of lead to come out while also damaging your revolver over time. Look for these two types of issues in your revolver. The sooner you identify them, the better it is for your revolver to be in top working condition while preventing bigger problems in future. Number 6. So why is this a big deal? Minor consequences. The consequences of a timing issue might start small but can grow into a serious problem if not taken care of. At earlier stages, you can expect small things like unreliable shots, accuracy that isn't as sharp as it used to be, and even tiny bits of lead flying out of the sides after you fire. You might ignore these signs, thinking they are no big deal, but don't. These small issues can seriously turn into big ones if not taken seriously and left unchecked. Identifying them sooner can save you from costly repairs and keep your wallet happy, ensuring your revolver continues to work flawlessly. Why hurt your wallet when you can easily keep an eye on these issues? Major consequences. Let's look at what worse can happen if these issues are left untreated. If your revolver timing is off, the bullet fragments that fly out after firing can hit you or someone standing nearby, causing serious injury. Imagine taking a shot and suddenly feeling a sharp pain on your hand or face, not exactly what you expected, right? Then comes the gun damage. When the cylinder doesn't properly lock up, this misalignment can put extra stress on the forcing cone, which can result in cracks or even a complete breakage over time, compromising your revolver's performance. What a disappointment it would be to trust your revolver only for it to fail when you need it the most. The consequences of a timing issue are not just bad for you and your gun, but also bad for your wallet. The damage it gives to your gun is so bad that you might have to replace the barrel entirely. And if you think you can fix the damaged barrel, be prepared to spend a fortune, as the repairs are just as expensive as buying a brand new revolver. So would you like to spend all that money or identify the problem early to save yourself from spending a fortune on repairs? Fixing the problem early is, of course, the smarter move. Number 5. How to identify timing issues. If you don't want timing issues to become a headache for you, you need to identify them as early as possible. To do so, there are several ways you can use. One of the simplest ways to check is the single action test. It requires manually cocking the hammer and watch the cylinder carefully. The cylinder should fully lock into place before the hammer drops. If it locks properly, your revolver is good to go. But if it doesn't, there might be something wrong. Let's look at the double action test, which is a bit trickier than the single action test. Although the cylinder moves much faster in the double action mode, you can still spot the issues. You just need to pay full attention to the cylinder as you pull the trigger. If it doesn't fully align before the hammer falls, that means your revolver has a timing problem. Identifying it early can save your revolver from serious damage. Looking for a quick and interesting way to check for timing issues? Try the cylinder wiggle test. Before starting this, you need to make sure your revolver is completely unloaded. After all, your safety always comes first. Once done, gently move the cylinder back and forth and notice how it feels. If it's tight and secure, great, there's no need to worry. But if it's loose and moves too much, there is something wrong. If it's a little movement, there is no issue, but if it's shifting too much, your cylinder isn't locking up properly, and that's definitely a sign of timing issue, which cannot be simply ignored. Firing observation is another way to identify a timing issue. You just need to watch what happens when you fire. If you have ever noticed fragments of lead coming out from the cylinder gap, that's not normal. It means your revolver has a timing issue that you shouldn't ignore, so take action before things get worse. Besides observation, hearing can also tell you if your revolver has a timing issue. You just need to keep your ears open during firing. This is how it works. If you hear an unexpected click right before the hammer drops, the cylinder is locking too late into its place, which can lead to misalignment. A revolver with no such issue cycles smoothly and silently without creating any noise. So next time you fire, pay attention to the sounds. They might give you an easy clue about warning signs. Number 4. Prevention. We all have heard the phrase, prevention is better than cure. And that couldn't be truer when you have to deal with a revolver's timing issues. Instead of waiting for a problem to grow, you should take some preventive measures before the issues even start. The primary step is the regular cleaning and maintenance. You need to clean and lubricate your revolver regularly, which helps it to run smoothly while preventing wear and tear. After all, nobody wants to drive their car for years without changing its oil, right? Also, try to clean out carbon buildup regularly after each shooting session, especially around the cylinder and forcing cone. A little bit of oiling can also do a huge favor in reducing friction and wear on the moving parts. After all, spending some time on maintenance can keep it running smoothly for years to come. So when was the last time you gave your revolver a thorough checkup? Do it now if it's been a while. In addition, you should check your revolver's lockup frequently, as we talked about earlier. It will only take a few minutes of your precious time, and believe me, those few minutes can make a huge difference that can save you from bigger problems in the future. Need some more tips? Here you go. If you want your revolver to stay in top shape, always use high-quality ammunition. You can definitely save a few bucks on cheap ammunition, but mind it, This will cost you more later on, as these poor rounds put more stress on your revolver's timing mechanism and can wear down the internal parts faster. So instead of saving money on cheaper ammunition, invest more in quality rounds to save yourself from paying a hefty amount later. Would you like to play smartly or risk costly repairs down the road? The choice is yours. Number 3. Dry firing. Do you know what dry firing actually is? Let me tell you, dry firing is pulling the trigger of a firearm without any ammunition in the chamber. Revolvers are not built to withstand dry firing, especially without any protection such as snap caps. If you keep dry firing, your gun will most likely wear and tear. Let's be honest. How many of you have excessively dry fired your revolvers just for practice or fun? If you did, stop it right away. If you want your revolver's safety from timing issues, you need to understand how dry firing can cause serious wear and tear on its internal parts and mess up its timing. Let's look at how your revolver can suffer from excessive dry firing. With every pull of the trigger, the revolver firing pin strikes forward. Imagine it without a cartridge and smacking it against nothing again and again. It can definitely weaken or break the firing pin over time. The cylinder stop wear is another thing that could mess up with your revolver. It's responsible for locking the cylinder in place, but if it wears out, the cylinder might not lock up properly, causing misfires and jams. That's where the snap caps come in, which proves to be a lifesaver for your weapon. These are not real cartridges, although they look like one and are built to absorb the impact of the firing pin. These snap caps are your revolver's best friend, and they help protect the firing pin from getting damaged, keeping the cylinder stop from wearing down quickly while also reducing stress on internal parts. So if you want your revolver to stay reliable and safe, avoid excessive dry firing without snap caps. Number 2. How do we fix timing issues? A minor issue can turn into a major one if not taken care of, right? So why take the risk if you notice any signs of a timing issue? Just stop using the gun immediately, because if you keep on using it with a misaligned cylinder, it will just make the problem worse. If you spot signs of timing issues but are not completely sure about it, get professional help. A qualified gunsmith can inspect your revolver, look after the problem, and fix it quickly before it turns into a nightmare. Early repairs won't cost you much, but if you delay them, you might end up paying a hefty price. So be prepared to spend a fortune. Number 1. Expert opinions. Ever wondered what the experts have to say about the timing issues of a revolver? Let's hear from them. Qualified gunsmiths emphasize more on the importance of identifying and fixing the issues as early as possible, as they think a misaligned cylinder is not just a minor issue, but a major one that can actually lead to serious problems. Tim Smith is one of those experts who said shooters are not taking the timing problem seriously, and many of them are overlooking them and ending up with costly repairs of the firearm. He also focuses on prioritizing regular timing checks so shooters can catch minor issues early rather than dealing with a broken gun later. Isn't it a wise advice? Then there are some who say timing issues can definitely be fixed, but some repairs get really expensive if you wait too long and not fix them earlier. Do you really want to take the risk and wait until your small problems turn into a major one? Of course not. Go and have your revolver's timings checked, if not done already, to keep it accurate and reliable. Now might just be the perfect time. Timing issues are no doubt the leading cause of revolver failure. No matter if you have the best revolver, timing issues can still develop if it is not properly maintained. A little routine maintenance can keep it running flawlessly for years to come. Don't just wait until it's too late. Stay ahead of the problem. And you would definitely have a revolver you can trust when you need the most. That's a wrap to our video today. See you soon again. Thanks for watching and take care.